Welcome, girls. Today we are starting a new project. Our new project is a kind of art form called optical illusion. Op art is what it's known for in short. And this is going to be a really fun project. It's going to make use of kind of our positive and negative spaces that we've been talking about and all of our perspective line drawing. I don't know if you remember back from a couple weeks, we talked about how to make things look like they are farther away. And op art or optical illusion art plays around with those ideas. So this project that you can see that I have in front of me gives the illusion of all of these lines moving farther and farther away from us as they go to the center point. The vanishing line. That would have been that same line that we used to make three-dimensional objects. So we are going to be playing with this idea of op art. The supplies that you are going to need to start this project are a white sheet of paper that I sent home, an eraser, a pencil, an ultra fine Sharpie marker, a fine Sharpie marker, and then the colored markers that you have at home with you. I have my Blick Illustrator markers. Your Crayola markers would work perfect. You probably want your thicker ones because we will be filling in bigger spaces. Now, today, we'll be doing this lesson in 2 weeks. Part that we will be doing today requires all these supplies plus a ruler. And then next week, we'll be adding the color. Before we get started creating our really fun design, I want to talk to you a little bit about op art or optical illusions. Now, op art is a kind of art that plays tricks on your eyes. It is called an optical illusion. It's artwork that tricks your eyes into thinking that an object is doing something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary. So the examples that I have in front of you right now are by an artist called M.C. Escher. He was famous for his optical illusions, and he makes two-dimensional surfaces, so a drawing look as if it's three-dimensional. Now, we did some of this with our landscape drawings, but you can see in these pencil drawings of his that he uses the positive and negative space to be different things, and so you're not certain if you are looking at birds or fish, right? In our example off on that far left corner. Or how does he have a drawing of a hand drawing a hand? That's an optical illusion. He liked to play with perspective. You can see that with his stares, but he changes it around and does all sorts of things that don't look like they do in reality. And his self-portrait on the right, his hand is holding a mirror ball, and you can see a portrait of himself in it. And you get this reflection, which looks three-dimensional. It's an optical illusion. So op art was an art form that basically started in the 1960s, and M.C. Escher is a famous artist for doing that style, but Bridget Riley is another famous op artist. And you can see this spiral that's swirling down, and you can also see the lines that seem to wave and look misty. Those are both optical illusions where she uses different color tones and movement to create a sense as if these lines are moving. In fact, sometimes it feels strange to stare at them too much because they do appear as if they are moving. And that was what she was most famous for creating. Now, these examples of student art are a little bit closer to what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be creating on our flat surface the appearance of lines that look like they're bumping up or swishing away from us. Now you can see some of this other student art where we have all sorts of illusions that they are creating on the surface. And so as you can look at these, you can see different shapes that are form and stand out from the grid. So playing around with lines and shapes and the placement of them can make them appear as if they were moving or getting farther away from you. Those would be examples of op art. So we are going to take some time and use our supplies to create some of our own optical illusions. All right, girls, we're going to get started on our optical illusion project. What will be fun about this is we're going to kind of combine all the things that we've been learning, positive and negative space, and all of those rules that we learned when we were drawing linear perspective, where things get smaller as they go far back, they have a vanishing point, all those things we are going to be using for our optical illusion. We're going to start with our large sheet of paper, and I want you to put a dot in one location on your paper. I kind of have mine off to the side. You could put yours directly in the middle, wherever you want to put it. We are then going to use our rulers, and we are going to start making lines that come out from our dot. And we're going to pull those lines all the way to the edge of our paper. And we're just going to keep pulling them to the edge of our paper. And what we're going to do is each one of these will become one of our rounded sections that all get smaller and smaller as they get to our corner. This one's going to be a stretch because I don't have mine in the center of my paper. Using the ruler will help you keep order. This ruler, you can see that's a little wavy, so I'm going to redo it and clean up that line. You might need a ruler that is bigger than the one that you normally use because the paper I sent home for you is pretty big. Or you can do what I'm going to have to do here. I can't reach to the edge of my paper, so I'm just going to scooch my ruler up against that line and pull it to the edge of the paper, and then I'll just finish the line. You can see where it ended and I had to finish it. We're just going to keep going around the paper and drawing these little wedges that are going to go all come out from the center. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 spaces so far. Got another one. And it's okay if they're not evenly spaced. I'm just kind of going around trying to keep them pretty, very similar. But as you will see, as we are pulling these lines out from the center, it draws our eye into our vanishing point, which we have here. All of our lines vanish at that point. They disappear. It's like they all join together and go down into that space. So we want to make certain that we have even amount of spaces. So I have 15, I need 16. So I'm going to erase this one and we'll divide it, not with just one line, but with 2. All right, so you can see our sheet of paper. My lines are longer because I put my dot off center. And you want to make certain that you have an even amount of these spaces. So I should have 16 spaces now, which means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 lines to create the 16 spaces in between. This is the exciting part. I mean, I already feel like this starts to create an optical illusion because we think everything is moving. It's like coming in towards this point. We want to now divide up each of these little wedges with lines going the opposite direction. And we are going to make them curvy. So this is what it looks like. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to do one of these first, and then that will help us figure out how to do all the other ones. So I'm going to put a tiny little line in. So I've got 2 lines, and this is where our linear perspective comes into play. As we get closer to the bottom edge of the paper and farther away from the vanishing point or this dot, these get farther apart. And I'm putting a curved line in between these 2 diverging lines are between them. And you can see, so these look flat and straight, and by putting in these horizontal curved lines, it makes it appear as if there's a bump. You could, if you were having fun, we could put straight lines across. So you can see what that looks like, the difference, where I would just make them do that. So then it makes this look curved and this look flat. That would be an optical illusion that might be fun. Maybe for your next project or your next doodling, you could try that. We're going to take it one step further, and instead we're going to draw a curved line in the same spot as the one that we did on this line, but we're going to curve it the opposite direction. So what I like to say is you do frowny faces in one and then smiley faces in the next. So I come down and I just do smiley faces that fit all the way across my lines. And this one is just, it's like not even going to stay. I'm going to just very gently get rid of those, the kind of the fun, silly lines I was putting in. So instead of it looking like it goes flat down, now it looks like it has a bump, and then you go whoop, and you would slide down. So we're going to go to our next one, and we are going to do our frowny faces again, our frowny mouths, like this. And you might find that if some of these lines are bigger, that right along this edge, I might see part of the next one. Girls, are you kind of getting a feel for how this works? We go frowny face, smiley face, frowny face, which means that this line will be smiley. If you need to move your paper so it's easier to reach, I want you to go ahead and do that. And we always know where to start because we just start wherever that last line was. And we just touch the edge of it. So you can see where we go. Bump, slide, bump, slide. So if we are headed to the next one and this one's smiley faces, that means these are going to be frowny faces, sad faces. But you always know where to go by the lines that we just did. This is how it works. we are going to repeat these smiley and frowny lines all the way across our paper. I want you to go ahead and take a break if you need to, kind of stretch out, move your hands, and you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. I'm going to fast forward the rest of my drawing in so you can watch me do it, or you can just start working on yours. Okay, girls, this is what the project looks like when we have finished putting all of our frowny faces and smiley faces all the way around. If you can remember, when we are going to start coloring it in, we are going to be doing every other one different colors. So you could be thinking about what colors you might want to use. We're going to choose 2 different colors. But before we go ahead and do that, we need to outline all of our pencil lines with black Sharpie marker. My suggestion to you is to use your ultra fine. If you do not have that, your regular one, your fine one, will work as well. This just takes a little bit of while as you do this. You're going to put your... We are going to be outlining all of our lines in black Sharpie markers before we go ahead and add the color in between the spaces. And you're just going to trace over your pencil lines. If there are any that you need to fix, this is the time that you would do it. You know, I told you to use the ultrafine. You might want to use that down here, but I'm thinking as we get farther out, maybe just the regular fine works better. I'm going to go ahead and make this go fast so you don't have to spend a long time watching me do it, but you can see how quickly it comes together when I put it on a faster speed. So if you want to take a break and come back to this later on this week, that's just fine. Or if you just want to continue working with me, that would be great as well. once you finish tracing, if there are any spots where there's pencil line showing that you didn't cover with your marker and you want to fix and adjust that, you can go ahead and use your eraser and clean up any of those areas. I like to get a brush, tap my paper, and then brush off any extra. You're going to want to get all of those eraser bits off your paper so it doesn't affect when you color it in. And then that's what your optical illusion drawing should look like. We will finish this project next week and color it in, which is just really a lot of fun. So I hope you had fun creating this illusion of everything getting smaller and moving back to this space. And we will work on finishing our illusion next week. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing your work on Seesaw.